Last weekend, I took my wife away, went to Hill Country here in Texas, and in it is the Wimberley café. It occurred to me after a while that every person working there was wearing an earpiece. The person who cleaned the tables, the person who was a server, everybody had earpieces and they were communicating regularly. You don't have to be fancy. You don't have to have some huge budget. You don't have to be an expensive orthodontic office to have exceptional systems. Hello there, entrepreneurs, and welcome to another episode of your 5-Minute Friday. I'm your host, Dr. Glenn Krieger. Now, I want to tell you something about our practices. We think we're such a big deal. We think we've got systems and policies, and so many of you out there think you've got it dialed in. You know, you put all these fancy names on the things you're doing, you use tons of technology. And I want to give you a little story about something that happened to me this weekend to sort of put it all into context. Because you've got beautiful offices, you walk in, they look amazing. But I will guarantee you, there are policies and systems in your office that are not running the way they should because people aren't reporting to you when they're not working the way they should. When your front desk doesn't greet somebody the way you want them greeted, who tells you? Now, don't give me this BS, you watch the camera. No. Okay, there's lots of blind spots in your office, and you've got to develop the organizational hierarchy to protect that. And you need to make sure that hierarchy is being trained consistently by the people they report to, which means you're spending a regular amount of time with the person who's training the people who are training the people who are being trained. Okay? Hope I didn't confuse you there. This last weekend, I took my wife away, went to Hill Country here in Texas. Beautiful place to visit if you've never been. There's wineries, great place to visit. You'd never imagine it. But we're in a tiny little town. And if you ever find yourself in Wimberley, Texas, cute little town, southwest, I think, of Austin, probably by 30 minutes. And there's a beautiful little town to walk around. And in it is the Wimberley Café. And my wife stopped in there one morning. We went to go get some coffee and what have you, just to chill and relax. I was sitting there, you know, remember, it's the morning. You're expecting to be on a weekend, supposed to be jam-packed, and it was. And yet, we got seated right away. Now, that's a little unusual at a breakfast place on a weekend. But to make it even more interesting was the way they went about it. I dropped my wife off because, expecting a huge wait, let her get our name on the wait list. By the time I got there, parked the car, got there 2 minutes later, the woman at the front at this little town cafe looked at me and goes, "You must be Glenn." I said, "I am. How do you know?" She goes, "Oh, Alyssa's waiting for you. Let me show you where she is." Now, that alone is like, wow, that's pretty good, right? Puts me at a table with my wife, and I just sat and watched, and I listened. And it occurred to me after a while that every person working there was wearing an earpiece. The person who cleaned the tables, the person who was a server, everybody had earpieces, and they were communicating regularly. Now, again, this is small town Texas. I'm not expecting this. This is blowing me away. And I'm a geek. I love watching systems. And so I'm sitting at a table that's not too far from the door and where they all congregate, and I'm listening to the talk that's going on between them. Yeah, how about you move this table over here? I know you got somebody waiting over here, so before you bring them in, do this. And they were communicating like you cannot believe. And the whole point of the story is you don't have to be fancy. You don't have to have some huge budget. You don't have to be an expensive orthodontic office to have exceptional systems. And let me tell you, I watched this place operate. Even the guy who is cleaning the tables, his attention to detail was spectacular. And it underscores a couple of the things I tell everybody about how to run an effective office. Number one, hire on core values. Okay, I don't care how you're hiring now. I've given this talk enough times. If you're not hiring on core values, you are missing the boat. Because it was clear that every single person who worked there shared the same core values. It was crystal clear. Number two, training. You've heard me talk about it. If you haven't, come to Summit, because I'll probably talk about it there, or you come and get me privately and I'll talk to you. But I talk about the practice zone and the performance zone. And it was crystal clear this team at the Wimberley Cafe spent exceptional amounts of time in the practice zone before they went to the performance zone. Because the goal of the performance zone is to perform, no errors. And let me tell you, they were doing a great job of it. Number three, it was crystal clear they had really well documented systems and policies. This was not a franchise. This was not one of 1,000 places, and this is the playbook. They developed it on their own in small town Texas. So the point of this whole conversation is, if you're struggling with things in your practice, you needn't look any further than yourself in the mirror. Are you putting the time and energy in that you need to be putting in? Yeah, somebody today I was talking to at jiu-jitsu, and he said to me, you know, it's easy to die for somebody. It's hard to live for them. I said, what do you mean? He goes, oh, if somebody said, would you die for this person? He said, absolutely. He said, I die for my kids. But he says, would you live for your kids? I go, what does that mean? He goes, are you spending the time, energy, and effort to do what you need to do with your kids to make sure they grow up the right way? Because dying is easy. Living for them and doing everything you need to do for them. And this doesn't mean driving them to ballet or to dance or to gymnastics. It's the conversations. It's the sitting down. It's allowing them to become self-starters. It's allowing them to teach them how to overcome obstacles the right way. Independent thinkers, all those sorts of things. It's harder to live for your kids than it is to die for them, was his point. And he was right on the money. It is harder for you to live for your practice than it is to just delegate. If you find great people, that's wonderful, but you need to be the leader. You need to be the visionary. You need to be the founder. And if you've ever heard me talk about the EOS system, it means your job is not to create systems and policies. Your job is to make sure that the office is running based on your core values and that everybody's accountable. So again, think of the Wimberley Cafe. If you're ever in Texas and you get a chance to go there, trust me, sit down, have a meal, and just watch what's going on. And you just might learn some amazing lessons about your big city practice from a small town cafe. Hope to see you at Orthopreneur Summit. Go to opsummit2025.com. Prices are going up. Seats are disappearing. It's going to be the best and final summit ever. So, OP Summit 2025, see you there.